Shaq, a 4-time NBA champion, 15-time All-Star, and one of the most dominant players to ever step on the court. But like all great athletes, Father Time eventually catches up. By 2011, Shaq was a far cry from the unstoppable force we saw in the early 2000s with the Lakers. And that's when Tim Hardaway weighed in on Shaq's decision to retire. In an interview, Hardaway said, and I quote, "I'm glad that he retired. I think it was the right time. He was hurting his legacy." Now, that's a pretty bold statement, but Hardaway explained that nobody wants to see a player of Shaq's caliber stick around too long and tarnish the legacy they've built. And honestly, I think a lot of fans felt the same way at the time. Let's talk about Shaq's final years in the league. His 18th season with the Phoenix Suns was actually pretty solid. He averaged 17.8 points and 8.4 rebounds per game, but things started to go downhill after that. When Shaq was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2010, it was clear that injuries were catching up to him, and he became a shadow of himself. He only played in 53 games that season, and his production dropped to just 12 points and 6.7 rebounds per game. Not exactly the Shaq we knew and loved, and not the Shaq the Cavs thought they were getting. Tim Hardaway, who played 15 seasons himself, knew exactly what it was like to get older and not be able to perform at the highest level. And he could see that Shaq wasn't the same dominant force he used to be. That's why Hardaway was so glad to see Shaq retire before things got even worse. But Shaq wasn't ready to give up just yet. In 2011, at the age of 38, he signed with the Boston Celtics. Now, this was a Celtics team that had already won a championship in 2008 and was led by their big three of Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. Shaq thought that he could be the missing piece to help Boston win another title. He believed that if he hadn't torn his Achilles, the Celtics would have won that year as well. Shaq even said, and I quote, "We were supposed to win this year, but supposed to doesn't count." It's clear that he had high hopes for his final season, but his body just couldn't hold up. Unfortunately for Shaq, that Achilles injury marked the end of his career. It was tough for him, especially because he felt like he let down the city of Boston, a city that welcomed him with open arms.
I averaged 9 points in Boston. I felt like I was robbing the people. I felt so bad that when they called me back and said, "Hey man, we owe you 1.5, I said, keep it. Shaq's not Shaq anymore. I have to accept it. Like when you start doing this to get a dunk, it's gone."
He truly believed that he could help the Celtics capture another title, but sometimes the body has other plans. Looking back, it's easy to see why Tim Hardaway and many others felt Shaq was hurting his legacy by staying in the league far too long than he should have. At his peak, Shaq was virtually unstoppable, and those final years just didn't match up to the dominance we all remember and all love. In the end, Shaquille O'Neal's legacy is secure. He's a Hall of Famer, a champion, and an icon of the game. But Tim Hardaway's comments remind us that there's going to be a fine line between going out on top and staying around too long. Thankfully, Shaq made the decision to retire before things got any worse, and now we can remember him for all the greatness he brought to the court. So, what do you guys think? Did Shaq retire at the right time, or should he have walked away from the game sooner? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more upcoming videos and NBA content. My name is Damian Peters. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.